everyone, welcome to Venus Visions, where we dive deep into different esoteric knowledge, specifically divine feminine spiritual path. And today is the third video dedicated to the divine Titan goddess Hecate. And today's video is a very interesting one because we're going to dive deep into her wisdom, her symbols, and the language in which she speaks. If you're new here and you like this type of topics, please do subscribe, like, share. Welcome to our community and happy 2026. Happy New Year according to the Gregorian calendar. This year, I'm definitely very excited about diving deeper into the spiritual knowledge, into pouring into this channel, being more consistent. So in this video, we're going to talk about Hecate's wisdom, her symbols, how she speaks through symbols, because as you know, every spiritual entity that I spoke about in this channel, I like to take my time to really dive deep into what are they depicted as, what animal, what symbols, what colors, because every one of these things have a deep wisdom and knowledge for us to grasp from, and also to learn the hidden meaning of these stories, because at the end of the day, who cares about like the history if it's just a story, right? But really all of these stories have metaphorical, they're basically a journey of the soul that all of us go through, as well as collectively. We're also going to talk about Venus's underworld journey, which is still happening right now. We are currently in the underworld, and how all these myths even started about, specifically the myth of Inanna. If you watch a Rishkigal video, it is the video where Inanna, the goddess of heaven, went into her underworld journey, and this journey specifically aligns with what is happening right now, which is the journey of Venus, the planet Venus, and we're currently as a collective in the underworld, as well as I feel like it is also happening on a personal level, because we're in such a time of a shift right now. Even people who are not into this kind of spirituality, or what they call woo-woo, they do feel that definitely there is a shift. There's no more illusions to run into and to hide from. It's happening. There's a big shift happening. We're evolving as a planet, as a human, spiritually. But anyways, in the specific time, at least here in the northern hemisphere right now, we are in the underworld, right? It's specifically now, and we're gonna stay there until February. Venus starts to ascend again. I think it's the second week, or within the end of the first week of February. And ironically, this is also when we enter into the year of the year of the horse, because right now we are still in the year of the snake, which she is associated with Hecate as well. I hope you guys can see the connections between all these videos and these stories, and how they're all weaving and coming in together. So Hecate's own story of the underworld is that she guides the goddess Persephone, so a whole different myth, right? She guides her in the underworld, but this story is very much connected to the Ereshkigal Inanna, where Inanna went into her own underworld, all the gates, and she had to let go a part of her ego until she was finally fully naked and ready to face the goddess of death, and she had to die in the underworld for her to come back to be the queen of heaven, right? Ancient Kemetic, you know, the whole teachings. I think there's two teachings that we can take all the Kemetic, the ancient Egyptians books, the things that they truly, really wanted you to learn. The lesson is two lessons, I personally believe, is that know thyself, to know who you are. And the second lesson, as above, so below, so as within, so without. So whatever is happening out there is subconscious, as also happening in our subconscious mind, in our world. It is also happening in our collective. So we have the collective. As humans, we do have a collective life that we're all guiding together, right? And that's why you have certain life stage events, because these stage events, they help change or bring the collective energy to a different vibration, in which it changes the outcome, right? So manifestation as a collective. And then there's the personal. So when they say as above, so below, as within, so without, they mean it's happening collectively, it's happening personal, and it's happening out there in the stars. So the Venus journey, when she goes deep into this is actually happening out, right? Astronomically, it is happening. So right now we're in the stage where she is in the deepest part of the underworld, which means that she is Venus is located exactly marrying the sun, right? The sun, the light, Hecate's flame, the lights, the illumination is literally behind the sun. So we can't really see her because she is behind the sun. So she went through her descent, and now she's being hidden by the sun. Symbolically, the sun is that fire that Hecate holds. It represents wisdom. It represents being able to see the truth during the underworld. And so if you're, and I'm personally, I'm in my own underworld right now where I'm shedding old things of myself. And again, she's connected to the snake, the shedding, and we are in the snake energy right now. And so this is the perfect energetic alignment if you really want to be able to face the truth and be able to be conscious about what you should really shed. So like I said, this is the perfect time to really face those things. And she does it in such a beautiful, motherly way. Yes, has a very tough reputation. She's considered strong. A lot of people might have been afraid of her, but that's kind of like how we were programmed. So basically, so that is the Venus underworld that is happening right now, and in February that's when she starts to go up, and in February also that's when the snake year ends. So we are in that final snake shedding that end right now. So it might be really tough for a lot of us. Personally, I feel like I have to drag myself to do stuff. I have no energy. I just want to sleep. And also, like, I want to say that rest and like taking it easy is very sacred, especially to the divine feminine, because this is part of our cyclical nature. And Hecate is, again, one of her symbols is the cyclical. You know what I mean? That cycle, right? That moon cycle connected to the cycles of the moon, which they are connected to the whole cycle of the earth, right? We're in the winter. The winter is the darkness, the underworld, the cold, the nights are long, the days are shorter. That is the time that even the planet itself, the trees are falling and they're going through their deep dying stage, right? And everything is more relaxed. It's stormy out there. It's quiet, but it's very cold and it can be very stormy, right? And so we just kind of have to mimic what nature is doing. Like everything is kind of just resting. Certain animals are going to hibernation. It's the same thing when you have in your menstrual period. If you are menstruating, is that your period, that time when you're literally on your period, when you're shedding, again, you're literally shedding your inner skin, right? When you're shedding like the snake, that is considered a woman's winter period. So a lot of women I know also, they follow in terms of their life, even how they run their business or their whole life, is they follow this cycles of their period, their own cycle. Hecate teaches through symbols because they basically transcend language, because symbols are timeless. Language comes and goes. There's been over time that language has come and go, and Hecate has been one of the oldest divine feminine entities and goddesses that we've seen across all cultures, before even the Romans. And during the Romans, when they went through their whole renaissance and change of religion and change of philosophy and the way of life, the only entity that made it from the old world, from their own ancient ancestors, from their own world, was Hecate. But even her roots go back to Mesopotamia, Middle East, and things like that, and shows herself through symbols, because symbols, I believe, they definitely trump language. Symbols are very intelligent because they not only are just words, but they're also, it's like a word marrying with an image and then a feeling. It invokes a feeling within us, and that feeling is just a knowledge, right? It's like an understanding. It is also connected to wisdom. I want to say that she's so connected to wisdom. When I started doing this series and specifically thinking about Hecate and just really letting her come through in my own life in the past couple of days or so, weeks or so actually, I really, really believe that she is so wise. Oh my God. Beyond like what is said about her, all the books that people write about her and all this stuff. And I think people do mention the wisdom part, but I mean, she is just wise, just super, super wisdom. So symbols are something that can survive through time and through different languages, through different cultures. They just evoke a deep understanding. Symbols are also a way to transmute knowledge that bypasses logic. It governs moments where the old self is dissolving. She's always governing that liminal space. This is why she governs, or she is associated with gates, especially city gates. You know, like in my country, in North Africa, we have their old ancient gates, and they're still there. They call them gate walls, right, from one city to the other. And I guess that's because back in the day they were different tribes, and they didn't really get along. But anyway, she governs those gates. She governs cemeteries, because that's the place middle space between death and life, where a human was once a body. Although their soul is no longer there, that body is now put in a place where it's like, you know, that's the transition phases. She even governs doors or doorways, right? And when you're thinking about it, when you're going from a room to another room, you're literally almost like going from one dimension to the next entity. That energy that is there, quietly hitting mysteriously to guide you if you are open to it, and with her flame, with her fire flame that illuminates the truth. That's the space where all the illusions are let go. Because when you're in the middle, when you're just standing in a door, right? I'm looking at my door right now, and I'm standing in the door. I know this is my office. I know there's over there is like the kitchen, right? When you're in here, right, with the doors closed, it's almost like the outside world doesn't exist. That's the illusion, right? That I'm safe in this one spot. Everything else is just that my illusion is that it doesn't exist. But then when I open the door and I go to the other side, this place might not exist anymore. That's my illusion. You're in the door, when the door is open, you're standing in between both worlds. You're able to see the truth, the full picture, right? I hope that kind of makes sense. It is associated with the keys. I have keys right here. Hecate is associated with keys. Key is an ancient symbol in many cultures, and it still is today, because it represents opening of the roads, it represents wisdom, it represents discernment, it represents hidden knowledge. That not all doors are meant to be open at once. It represent initiation, evolving. Every time you go to your next self, you're given a key, right, to opening a hidden or unlocking hidden parts of yourself. And so that all ties into the ancient Kemetic wisdom of know thyself, like I said before, knowing yourself. So she is very much connected to that as well. So she gives you the keys that you need for each step: wisdom, access to deeper knowledge, access to secrets. And she was called, I have it written down over there, she was called Kleidoshos. I hope I said that right. She was called Kleidoshos in ancient traditions, which means the key bearer. She is also associated with a lot of ancient Kemetic deities. A lot of them have the key of life, which also represents a key itself. It can represent other things too, like the womb, the divine union between masculine and feminine, the union, right? And Hecate is also connected to that communion with everything, not just masculine and feminine, just union with the earth. And we'll talk about that soon. So yeah, the key of life is associated with that. I think also Inanna, other Mesopotamian goddesses, they're seen holding keys. The torch, I told you before, the torch, she is almost always seen depicted with the torch. Torch represents illumination, dissolving of the illusion. She when Persephone is going down in the underworld, she's the one holding the torch, so she can only see basically what is around her at one point at a time. It's not really like the sun, the fire from the sun, where you're seeing everything, but you're seeing what it needs to be said. But right now, Venus, right, in the underworld, she is right marrying. She's right in the sun, actually, right? Everything around her is illuminated. So maybe you're freaking out because right now you're well aware of all the things that need to be let go. You're seeing all of it, and this is the time we're at right now, collectively and personally, at least for me, and I believe it is happening for almost everybody. The torch represents the light, illumination, showing you the illusions, basically illusions of letting go. That even in the depth of darkness, in the depth of feeling hopeless and despair, this form of light, this light is still there, no matter what. No matter what you go through in your own world, right? No matter how dark it may feel sometimes, there's always that light that will always be there. And this is a true story, like a metaphorical story that is truth, even for people who are not into this esoteric wisdom. This is kind of like it's kind of like a study of the human soul. People might argue that, okay, how did these ancient people assume that symbols or what is happening out in nature is also something that is happening to us as well? Why would they look at the planet Venus and see it go through this underworld and create all these mythical stories that mirror this, and then say that those stories are also mirroring our own, journeys, and they have, the entities are real when it's just a story based on a planet, right? Well, actually, I believe that ancient people and people from the past were much, much, much more intelligent than us. First of all, this planet is millions of years old. I know it's hard to perceive that because of the programming and education and everything. What we've been taught in our modern world is that basically history starts from 4,000 years ago. Ironically, that's when the three monotheistic religions started. And everything before 4,000 years ago is just, we were just cavemen and blind people and just, barbarians. We didn't know anything at all. And it's almost like, wow, this planet took millions of years and humans have been here for millions and millions of years. And yet they were just not like our brains, our beautiful brain, right? That we're still studying, our beautiful, amazing, intelligent bodies, our whole body, our cells, I mean, are just beyond intelligent, beyond perfect, just didn't awaken, right? It didn't come on until 4,000 years ago. But we know now a lot of uncovered hidden secrets are coming up. There's been a lot of civilizations that were unearthed that science today, modern science, cannot even deny that they are way older than we are told. Even the Sphinx, science keeps pushing back the dates right now. First they said it was 4,000 years ago built, and then 9,000. Now they're saying more. And this is, I know it sounds like it doesn't matter, right? And Hecate is also associated with time, past, present, future, the triple-headed. She can see the directions, but time is so important because time literally tells the truth. And so if you live in a psyop, right, and you want to make these humans believe these illusions, you can't let them know that there was anything more powerful, right? Their true power and knowledge that was there before 4,000 years ago. Like, you have to erase all that and make it seem like none of that even matters. We're all dumb cave people. And then it was religion that somehow awakened something within us. And then all of a sudden we have all these inventions and everything, except for the ancient Egyptians. But ancient Egyptians, they tried to make it seem like that empire was at the same time as the religion, when really it was way older. And why does this even matter? Why does time even matter? It's older because it proves that humans were much more sophisticated and intelligent even 40,000 years ago, 50,000 years ago. And if you don't even pay attention to that, right? Not even if you just look at it from 50,000 years ago, is not that long ago in terms of how old this planet was. In Morocco, where I'm from, North Africa, they found figurines of divine feminine goddesses that date back to 200,000 years ago, right? And so what I'm trying to say is, if these people have been studying all of this stuff from way back then, they notice that these things are actually happening within and above. So the ancient Egyptians also, like the Hermes Trismegistus books, or even the knowledge that came even before then, they said it came from Atlantis, right? All these books are still heavily studied today by a lot of powerful people because they hold a lot of knowledge. I mean, everything we know today from our modern world, from even the Gregorian calendar, the way Gregory, whoever, I forgot his last name, this man named Gregory created our calendar, was influenced from these ancient Egyptian teachings. To our clocks, to our mathematics, alchemy, chemistry, writing, books, papers, right? All these inventions, all these crazy inventions, that money, banking systems, schools, everything we do today is inspired by these ancients. I'm just using the Egyptians as an example, but there's been other people. I believe we actually live in a dark age now. I believe we're told that we're told we are the most civilized now, and we know all this stuff now, but I feel like a lot of it has been erased. And so when you tell people now that the ancients believes that as above so below, and that the story of Venus is really something that is associated with the planet Venus, is associated with like Ereshkigal or Hecate or different entities from different traditions, is real, and it has a real meaning as well, because it's not just happening out in nature, it's truthfully happening as an entity herself and within us and within the collective, because they've seen it happen, and they've looked at time, they looked at history, they looked at what is happening during these different time, right? The true time, the clock is not really the true time. The true time is just the cycles of the planets moving together. So one day Earth is here, in an hour Earth is going to be there, and then this planet is here. That's time. For me, the way we look at clocks is just how we name, we give symbols or word to the planetary movements. But true time, like Hecate is associated with time and wisdom, the true time is just the cycles and the movements of the planets, of the sun. One, like at this clock the sun is here, at this clock the sun is here, at this clock the sun is here. They just keep moving in cycles, but clocks themselves don't actually mean anything, right? And so when these people, these ancients, talked about, because it was before writing, right? They had symbols, right? And they spoke about these stories so that it can be passed down. That's how history was recorded, right? Through symbols and through word of mouth. When they look at the history of their ancestors, or history of the planet they live in, of their life, they realize, oh, when the movement is in its start phase, this is how the energy is like, and this is how it's happened, and are the things that keep happening whenever the moon is in this phase, and the same thing keeps reoccurring over and over again. I mean, I'm talking about the planet is millions of years old, okay? I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So that's why they put this connection of as above so below, and they really study the planets, because they realize whenever there's certain things happening out there, it creates the same energetic frequency time and time again. Whenever the sun is here, and or whenever Venus is in this phase what we're in right now, the same things keep happening year after year after year. So that's basically it's all part of the torch, right? This is a little torch wisdom, little sun wisdom, lighting, illuminating through the illusions that have been put on us, such as humans were dumb years ago and they just became smart. So we must dismiss all this ancient knowledge and their beliefs, even though we still study their books and use these books for our own, gains. Some of them use it for their own egotistical monetary gains, but regardless, the stuff is still being used, right? And a lot of powerful people are studying this stuff. Next, we have the snake or the serpent, and we are still in this beautiful energy, very tough year. We thought we were going to be the ones in charge this year, right? The year of the snake, according to ancient Chinese traditions, and all of that has its own wisdom itself. And the snake came in and broke all our illusions, because the snake is so wise. And by the way, did you know that worship, but some people call it worship, some people call it honor. I don't think they actually worshipped, although there's certain people that actually worshipped. But the worship of the snake is the oldest type of worship in this known to us, our human history. In divine feminine world, the snake is considered a grandmother, right? I forgot her name. I think Rebecca. There's a snake priestess. I really love her. I was in a priestess school, in a mystery school, and they brought Rebecca on. Has a podcast too, and she's on Instagram. I love her so much, because she really dives into this snake wisdom, and she calls herself what is called a snake priestess, and she really embodies that. Even how she speaks, you can tell she just embodies that slow way of life, that feminine way of life, but also being in communion with all, because the the snake goes on its stomach, right? Its whole body is basically touching the earth. Snake doesn't hear anything, but it can sense all the dangers around it. It can sense everything around it by being in true communion with the earth, like marrying the earth. And so a lot of snake priestesses, I know with Rebecca, part of her teaching is this whole message of being one with one another, with the earth, with the planets, with other cultures, and celebrating them, celebrating even our body, right? Different bodies, different sizes, different, right? Because snakes comes in all kinds of different sizes and bodies and just colors and just beautiful, right? And so we celebrate them instead of wanting to have dominion over them. So yeah, the snake teaches us to be one with the earth, to ground ourselves and to really go down. It is considered an ancient grandmother energy. So she is associated with the snake because, again, snake is also known for its always shedding its old self. It literally sheds its whole skin, comes out, and it's not really a pretty stage for the snake. It's uncomfortable. It has to really come out of the old skin and then like really go on rough terrain and like shake out of it, and it can take days. And it's, I think that at least that's what scientists said, that it's not a very comfortable transition, but it is important. And so again, this is all goes back to being in the underworld, letting go of old self, shedding old parts of ourselves. It's not comfortable. Nobody said it was supposed to be comfortable, but it's the truth. If you want to illuminate, take the torch and really see the truth, then it's tough, right? This is the truth, but it sets you free once you just accept it, that hey, this is part of the cycles of life. I'm letting go of these things, and it's okay. It might not be comfortable. I might want to cry. I might want to not do anything. I might want to just take it slow. I might get angry at times, and that's okay. I'm a human. I think being spiritual, and I always said this, and I truthfully believe this, is that the real spirituality is what happens in the mundane. Being a true spiritual person is the ability to be a truthful, real human. That's why they say know thyself. I think that's the most spiritual thing, to be truthfully who you really are. And everybody's different. You don't have to be, this big, like, wearing all the spiritual masks and aesthetics, although that's beautiful if you like art and you like creativity, but it doesn't mean anything. There are people who have all the stuff and the things, and they have the bells and the whistles, and they have the community, the cult like followers that truly believe in their self, but they're not really facing their true self. They're not being their true human. So to me, the most spiritual person is the one that could truthfully sit down and get that mirror and face themselves. Hecate is associated with mirrors because mirrors represents knowing thyself. That's the truth. It's uncomfortable, but it's the truth. So this is the path of the divine feminine. It's not an easy path. It was never meant to be a path of, yay, we're just gonna pretend. Another path of spiritual, what do you call it? When you run away, right? We look for things to, I forgot the word at the top of my head, but yeah, just another illusionary path where we can just run from being a human, run from our truth, and run from ourselves, and just go and just be goddess and wear crowns and wear things and take photos, and all of those things are beautiful and we love them, but it's not really what the path is truthfully about. That is part of it. You can celebrate and be your most divine feminine self as you can be, but truthfully, it comes with a lot of responsibilities when you decide to take that key. And the torch, she's there to guide you like a mother. She is associated with the moon, so very motherly. That's another one of her symbols, is the moon, not just the cycles. So it has that motherly. So if you do dare to face this path and to let her guide you through the torches, then yeah. Serpents represent my camera is like, I think it's about to die. I need to buy. How do people make videos? Look at me. I had different YouTube channels and everything, and I don't even know how people do that. How do people make videos and their stuff never dies? They have one of those, I think there's a battery that you plug in, and I don't know. I had to look it up after this, but anyways, right now, I love it because it's happening right now. Is this whole snake, right? We're in the final stages of the snake year, and we're entering a new year according to this ancient Chinese traditions. In February, this is also the same time that Venus starts to make its ascent back up into the world. But right now, enjoy. Let your body, let your mind, let your soul just shed. If that means crying, that's okay, because crying is part of it. I got a massage recently. I got also, massages can really release a lot of trauma and stuff, that emotions that can get stuck in your body, that can get stuck in your muscles, in your cells. So it helps you release. Dancing, moving can help release. I got a Korean massage. I loved it because they literally, your skin, it's the same thing. Morocco, we have the same thing. It's a hammam, Moroccan hammam, where they take this they literally, your dead skin comes out. You'll see the skin coming out. It's beautiful. So yeah, like I said, serpent is the most ancient Chthonic, I never know how to say that word, symbol. It is associated with death and birth, changes, um, oracles, and like I said, Hecate in the past video, she is associated um, with cards, with tarot, very much associated with tarot. But that's the snake energy as well. It is associated with discernment. The snake is very discerned, because like I said, it doesn't hear, but it uses all its senses, very sensual. It uses all its body senses to discern the environment around it. It knows the environment probably more than a lot of humans. It knows the earth. It knows how plants move. It probably knows about the fungi family. It knows about all. It's very intelligent beings, because she becomes one. Just like other animals that have, like, they literally change, their whole colors change because it's like they become one with the earth, right? So that's part of the snake, that whole grounding. Just like the snake is connected to the earth, it has pure union with all. Hecate is in union with all. And she's there in plain hidden sight. Snakes can hide in hidden sight. And a lot of the animals too that camouflage, they have this. They just hide in plain sight. It doesn't want to be loud. It doesn't have to be loud. But it's always there, very wise, just sitting there doing its own thing, allowing, because it knows, right? It's very aware. It's consciousness. When you're on that frequency of being super aware, just consciousness, that awareness, you're very like calm. You're basically your higher self, right? This is what meditation is all about. This is what Osho taught. A lot of great wisdom people taught is that know yourself, right? Know thyself. Your higher self is that when you just know. When you know, there's no fear flight, there's no anxiety, there's no, oh my, you just know all the answers. Knowledge just comes. So that's the snake. Hecate is also associated with dogs. This is very popular, as well as black wolves. So before the dogs, she was associated with the black wolf specifically. And the black wolf is actually really rare because I think they said it happened because of some sort of mutation. I'm not sure. I need to double check on that. I know it happened because of some sort of mutation, but I'm not sure if it was a natural happening or it happened. Yeah, it was an accident by nature. It wasn't human interfered. I have to double check on that. If I'm wrong, please correct me, but I do believe this. One of those accidents of nature, just like pearls, right? Well, today's pearls, people force these accidents to happen. But a pearl, how does a pearl happen is when something enters into an oyster, like dirt or a rock or something accidentally, and so it creates this pearl around it in that shape. And so that's why it's the rare pearls that happen naturally are very expensive. But now people literally, like, they'll insert things into oysters to create pearls, and now they even have like oyster farms and all these things. Anyways, that's the beauty of when nature, that we wanna own it so much that we're willing to pay millions of dollars, especially if it's a different color pearl, right? It's so rare, that these accidents of nature are very valuable. So the wolf, the black wolf, another accident of nature, very rare. It represents wisdom. Same with dogs. Can represent protection, guardianship. So it's kind of like her guardian that's always around her. I wrote down different things here just to make sure I don't skip out on a lot of stuff. Sometimes when I edit my videos, I realize there's so many things I need to say. So I actually finally bought a board and I could just write things. So yeah, I talked about the moon, feminine wisdom, like we said, the cycles of your period, your spring, your own inner spring, the earth cycles, the cycles of Venus and the planetary movements, time, past, present, future, wisdom, the key, the torch, the serpent, tarot, plants. Oh yeah, she's very much associated with all plants, herbs, healings, owls, because owls can see all around. So owls represent discernment, wisdom, knowledge. She can see all over, right? So that triple head, past, present, future, again, is connected to this. She can see in the darkness, right? So the torch in the underworld to show you what needs to be said, but for her, she is like the owl. She can see in the dark time. Crossroads, of course, she comes in during the crossroads of your own life, but she's also associated with actual crossroads, especially the three-way crossroads, like outside. So people leave things for this energy for her at the crossroads. Garlic, so some things you can give to her. People give her garlic. Flowers, yeah, roses. Oh, definitely roses. The motherly energy, dark moon, and mirrors. So yeah, these are some of her symbols. She has so many different symbols. I hope that you all enjoyed this video. I hope that this journey that I'm taking you on, that you can start to see the thread and how it's all connected. And every video is connected from Ereshkigal to Hecate, to whatever we do next, to the snake year, to Venus, to winter happening, to the shift happening in the world right now, to the great awakening, the age of Aquarius, which is the age of information, illumination, and awakening. This is the time for Hecate. You probably felt her energy a lot around you. You've probably seen her name a lot more around you. Noticed her being out there. I definitely feel her a lot happening right now. So she brings a lot of wisdom to those who are courageous enough to take on this path and to know thyself, right? Courageous to speak the truth, even though it can be scary sometimes. Like when I speak of things like time and how the illusion of excuse me, the illusion of 4,000 years ago, this is scary because a lot of powers that be, they don't want people to know that. They don't want me to talk about that. They want you to say that the pyramids were built 4,000 years ago and that's it. Everything before then, you know? And it's much more dangerous than I even say it to you. But now we've entered a new age where all this information is free and out there, and people are, it is safe. It is safe to talk about and it is safe to receive. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed. Please do write me below, subscribe. I love hearing from you guys, your thoughts and information regarding this. All right, see you all next time. Bye bye.